the valley, but before the climb of the 6,500 feet Col de la Madeleine, Roche was in attacking mood. He was thinking of taking back his 25 seconds needed for the yellow jersey. No one would expect an attack on the flat this day. Further back, Delgado was more interested in taking on food for the climb to come. This was a move no one expected with 60 miles to go. Roche was either mad or very confident. Behind, the important actors in this play clearly thought he was mad. And to a man, they fueled up for the chase. With a small group of willing men out for the day's spoils, Roche fought to push home the shock attack of the race. We were heading for the start of the Col de la Madeleine. Roche had a lead of 1 minute 36 seconds over Delgado. That made him the new race leader on the road. Roche had slipped the man who he feared most in the mountains. He knew he couldn't do it on the climbs, so why not do it on the flat in between, and then try and hang on as the Madeleine started. The field behind, as always, was making the yellow jersey chase his nearest rival. Roche continued in fine rhythm, but clearly worried by progress as he glances down the mountain. A wolf in sheep's clothing? Further up the mountain, it was a good time to protest about the price of lamb this year. The police cleared the road just in time. The steep slopes of the 12 miles climb personified on Roche's face. Behind, Delgado was warming to the occasion as the hill got tougher. Below was Delgado's group, and above him was the group of Roche. They could see each other. Over the top of the climb, Roche was still clear with a long descent to come before the last mountain to the finish. While Delgado and his select group of chasers were still coming up, but continuing to narrow the gap. Roche was anxious to keep his advantage, and with no small risk involved, he led the way down the mountain. At the summit, Herrera is next over, but the group is concerned, and Delgado also looks worried. But the gradient had told, and Roche is pegged back to 48 seconds, with 43 miles to go. With the last 10-mile climb to come, Roche seemed to be committing suicide. His gamble was failing. Would advantage soon be Delgado? With the tall strongmen still around him, Delgado has the help he needs, but the unexpected chase is a sobering thought. But after a chase of almost 30 miles, the strong men have the fugitives in their sights as they work their way through the second feeding station of the day. Roche had gambled on slipping Delgado on the flat, but it was a gamble that failed, and he stays in second place overall as the leaders regroup. So to the last battlefield this day, the drunken slopes of Plagne, back up to nearly 6,500 feet, and where the drama of this tour reaches a crescendo. Come to their slopes. And with the stage ready for the last battle of Plagne, Lucio Herrera was having his own problems just staying on his bike. The leaders pass him by as he will begin to move off. Roche was now back among them, his brave attack a failure. He now had to ask himself if he had the energy for this last climb. Jean-Francois Bernard too, perhaps thinking of improving his third place in this race. But while the leaders were planning their hope for victory in Paris, Laurent Fignon planned on winning at Plagne, and the man who very nearly saw his day end in tragedy sprints ahead. His 15 minutes deficit overall brings only a token resistance from the rest. He's caught only by Anselmo Fuerte, a Spanish climber. And together they plan to leave the tactical battle raging behind. This is only the second time the Tour de France has visited the ski station. We'll remember it for a long time after this day. Pedro Delgado is a climbing specialist, and if he's to win this race, he must continue to improve his time advantage over Stephen Roche. Here we have the strange situation where the yellow jersey must attack, even though he's already in front. Delgado had attacked as soon as the climb began, and Roche at the back here was now on the defensive after a day of promise. He must be asking himself about the wiseness of his moves. Delgado was not interested in Fignon and Fuerte ahead, just in getting as far in front of Roche as he possibly could. He needed as much time as possible before this race left the mountains. He knew that if he didn't get it, the advantage would pass to Roche in the last time trial at Dijon. It looked good for Delgado as Roche suffered the pain that only this race can inflict. Even the Colombian climber Lucho Herrera was suffering on the road he too usually loves best. Delgado was out to win the race here, and now he was at last playing all the cards he had been dealt. Was it a winning hand? With 6 miles to go, he led Roche by 50 seconds. The Irishman had to show not just the ability that made him a favourite, but the courage of the sort that makes some men greater than others. The Tour de France had become a duel between the Spanish leader, urged on by the memory of his mother, and an Irishman trying to become a legend in his own lifetime. Delgado needed, in his own words, at least 2 minutes lead over Roche, and time was running out. Just like on top of Alpe d'Huez the day before, Delgado was gaining time on Roche. The Tour at last seemed to have found its true owner of the Golden Fleece. At the finish, and almost forgotten about in the race behind, Laurent Fignon was winning the stage from Fuerte. Some compensation for the former Tour winner, who was too far back this time to challenge either Delgado or Roche overall. Towards the end, Delgado was still ahead, but his arched back indicated he was struggling to complete the climb. There were anxious glances behind, and although it seemed impossible, Stephen Roche was unbelievably fighting back from a lost cause. Delgado headed up towards the ski station. His near-minute lead had evaporated in only the final 2 kilometers. Roche was not far behind, as from somewhere he found fresh power. And as Delgado crosses the line, his quest for minutes had become seconds, for the brilliant Irishman was only just behind him. This was a sign of a true champion, and a fight back the Tour had rarely seen. Roche arrived at the Col summit completely exhausted after an extraordinary effort that was necessary to stay in this race to Paris.
Oh, 2 minutes! 1 minute, hein? Une petite minute.
While Roche suffered, Delgado looked amazingly fresh. He can only recall a lost chance. Stephen Roche, 5 miles from the end this day, had all but lost the Tour de France. He knew he needed a special effort. The Tour de France itself is special.